From Texas to Arizona, Idaho to Georgia, women like me have been told that we're not sick enough to receive care that we desperately need. We've been turned away from hospitals. We've been found collapsed on bathroom floors. We have been told to flee our state borders in the hope of receiving basic reproductive care. If Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are elected, they will make my devastating story, the stories I've heard across the country, the reality for far too many more American women.
Who's a familiar face to viewers of this program. That's Amanda Zarowski. She was one of the first women to come forward and tell her story of losing her daughter and then being denied emergency abortion health care during a medical crisis. She's talking there about the danger of a Trump-Vance presidency and what it would mean to all American women. It's not an exaggeration to say that J.D. Vance is one of the most extreme politicians when it comes to reproductive rights in our lifetime to appear on a presidential ticket. He has called for a national abortion ban. He has voted against protecting IVF. He has worked to remove federal protections to keep women who leave anti-abortion states for care from being prosecuted when they leave. And when asked about exceptions to abortion bans for rape and incest, he said this, quote, "Two wrongs don't make a right." Amanda's not the only woman to bravely come forward and tell her story about what someone like J.D. Vance would mean for American women. Today, Hadley Duval, the woman who is featured in an ad for Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, talking about her experience as a survivor of rape and incest in her own home, talking about how dangerous it is when there are bans with no exceptions for rape and incest, how dangerous that is for women and girls. She's come forward in a brand new ad for the Biden campaign to share what a Trump-Vance presidency would have meant for her. She's given it to us to play here exclusively first. Watch it in its entirety.
Honestly, I didn't even know what was possible for my future when I was a kid. I had always wondered, like sitting in class, like, do these people go home and are they afraid of their dad too? When Roe v. Wade was overturned, immediately I just thought about being 12. And first thing that was told to me when I saw that positive pregnancy test was you have options. And, you know, if Roe v. Wade would have been overturned sooner, I wouldn't have heard that. And then it had me thinking that there's someone who doesn't get to hear that now. Girls like me across the country are suffering. Their futures are being ripped away.
Trump and J.D. Vance don't care about women. They don't care about girls in this situation. They will continue to take our rights away. In this election, we have a choice.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Joining us now, survivor, sexual assault survivor, reproductive rights advocate, and Biden campaign surrogate, Hadley Duval, who's featured in that ad. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I watched this in the car on my way here, and I cried watching it. And it's when you describe what it felt like to hear you have options. Will you say a little bit more about that?
One thing that I was sure about was the options that I had. You know, I was going through such an unimaginable time, and I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know who I had. I was so young. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I could understand that I had options. And that is ultimately what kept me going.
Hadley, what does it mean if we choose to become a country, if more people vote for the guy that would take away those three words, you have options, from other girls? These aren't women, these are girls who are in your situation.
Well, we're already seeing a sneak peek of what is happening. You know, in Kentucky right now, we do not have exceptions for rape or incest. We don't have exceptions for health of the mother. There are very, very few limitations that can allow you to get an abortion in Kentucky. And we are experiencing people in our state, in the same state that I am speaking so loudly for, and hearing that it is just such a small statistic, but it's not true. You know, we're seeing it right now in Kentucky and other states, what would happen and what will happen if they are elected.
Hadley, I have to ask you, we played the ad that you did for the Beshear campaign. Where does your strength come from?
knowing that I didn't have anybody come and save me. I didn't have anybody give my voiceless self a voice. And there were times where I was so lost and so deeply broken, but I knew that there were better days, and I just used sports a lot, and I used helping other people and making friends and doing whatever I could to not live the nightmare I was living at home, and be a different person outside of my home and just try to make it out and make it through.
Hadley, for victims of abuse or any trauma, it can sometimes be re-traumatizing to think of how many people will go through the exact same thing. And in your ad, in the story that you tell in the ad, it's about a worse outcome than even the nightmare you were living as a 12-year-old. What would you say to politicians that maybe think they're Republicans, but that don't understand what they'd be doing to young girls who are victims of rape and incest? What would you say to them to change their mind?
If they cannot look at their wife or their daughter, their niece, their granddaughter, and tell them, if you're in this situation, you have no choice. You don't deserve a choice. I don't care what happened to you. It's sad, but it's not sad enough for you to deserve a choice. You're too young to understand what's happened, but you're old enough to, suffer from the consequences. If you can wholeheartedly look at your wife, your daughter, any significant woman in your life or girl in your life and say that to them, then, I'm not really sure how you can say that you have love for those important women in your life. And if you can't say that to them, then that is the smallest reason why we need options.
What is it like to be in the middle of one of the sort of most rough and tumble areas of civic life, presidential politics? What has it been like for you to be out there speaking for President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, helping them make their case to everyone, which you do extraordinarily well?
Thank you. It has been very rewarding. It is something I could have never possibly even dreamed of, especially, being that 12-year-old girl. I would have never have seen myself here. But, it has also come with some negativity and come with some bad, but there is nothing worse than what I've already been through. So that is really what just keeps me going, and knowing that there is nothing that the people on the internet can say or do that hasn't, already been done to me by somebody that was so close to me. So I know who I'm doing this for, and that's really the best part of it.
Hadley, I will just say this, as someone who spent more of my life in politics than what I do now, you can do whatever you want. You're extraordinary. You move me, and I think you'll change a lot of minds. What you're doing is really important and really brave. Hadley Duval, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.